Hi, this is Dan from the Camera Guides. Today I'm going to show you how you can use an intervalometer with the Fujifilm X-E2 to shoot a time lapse. So for this particular time lapse, I'm going to be shooting an ice ball as it melts. So this is the X-E2 with a little Manfrotto tabletop tripod. And this is a intervalometer that I purchased from Amazon. I'll link to the intervalometer so you can see for yourself in this post. So to get started, we need to understand a little bit about this intervalometer and what we want to do with it. So the first thing we'll do is turn it on, and as you can see here, we have a couple of options across the top. For this particular time lapse, I'm going to be using the interval feature, and that will let me determine and choose what gap I want between shots with the X-E2. So right now it's at 1 second. So I'm going to go ahead and set that value using the cursor to move the D-pad, use the D-pad to move over to the value. Then you can increase it. So for this particular one, I'm going to use a 10-second interval, and I just confirm it by pressing the OK button in the middle. Now, I don't want to take just one shot as is indicated right there. I'm going to use the D-pad again, move over to the N or number, hit OK, and now I'm going to increase this value all the way up and hold it down until it goes up to 300. That means we'll be taking 300 pictures at a 10-second interval. Okay, so now I've got it set at 300. I'm going to confirm that again by pressing the center OK button. And now when we look back here, we can see we have a 10-second interval. We're going to take 300 exposures. So what I need to do now is hook this intervalometer up to the Fujifilm X-E2. So the interface here is a micro USB connection. On the Fujifilm X-E2, you'll see on the side door here, if you open this up, you have an HDMI connector, another remote connector for a microphone up there, and then here is our micro USB. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in right there. So now the intervalometer is hooked to a Fujifilm X-E2. What I'm going to do next is compose my shot. And so now my subject, again, is that melting ball of ice. So when you take a time lapse, it's very important that you use all manual settings on the camera. The reason you need to do that is anytime the camera readjusts, that'll show up in the time lapse as a flicker or dark, moving from dark to light or out of focus and so on. So what I'm going to do is compose that ice ball. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, gain focus. So now that I've focused on here, what I'm going to do is switch my camera lens so that it's using manual focus. To do that, the front dial on the X-E2 needs to be switched. So now we can see that we're on manual focus. And we're zoomed in nicely on the ice ball. Now the next important step is to make sure that, other than just having the manual focus, we also need to ensure that the exposure settings are manual. So by half pressing here, I can get some exposure settings. Right now I have ISO 800, f-stop's at 5.6, and my shutter speed's at 160. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and lock those values in. So on the top dial I'm changing it to 180, and the f-stop change it to 5.6. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to dial it up slightly. So now we're at 1/180th of a second, manual focus, f-stop's at 5, ISO 800. So let's do one more thing. Sometimes there's some settings that are hiding in the background, like white balance, that might be set to auto. So we want to make sure that we have an auto white balance turned off. So here I'm going to go over, and sure enough, white balance is auto. I'm going to hit OK. Go back to that, and then, sorry, I need to scroll through these options with the back scroll. I'm just going to set it to some arbitrary value. Right now, how about cloudy? It's cloudy outside. So all the other values are being set manually, which is important. So let's go back and take a last check there. Looks like we're ready to go. So all of our settings are manual. We have our intervalometer set to a 10-second delay, and we're going to shoot 300 exposures. So now all we need to do is hit the start-stop button. And we just hit it, and now it's counting down. And we took another exposure. So we're going to let that run for, I guess, 3,000 seconds. So we'll be back in just a little bit, and we'll see where that ice cube is.